dear students, welcome to this classroom. In this studying year, you are going to study, as you know, the English novel, the early novel and the Victorian novel. So let us know something about the beginning of the English novel and the pioneers of the fictional works who participated in shaping this novel. Actually, 4 periods shaped the English novel. They are the early novels, the Romantic period, the mature Victorian novel, and the modern novel. In this studying course, we are going to start with the early novel. The early novels. The 18th century is regarded as the beginning of the English novel. The English novel took shape in the 18th century with the works of Daniel Defoe, Samuel Richardson, Henry Fielding, and Laurence Sterne. These novelists can be seen as the pioneers of the early novels. Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, published in 1719, Samuel Richardson's Pamela, published in 1740, Henry Fielding's The History of the Adventures of Joseph Andrews, published in 1742, and Laurence Sterne's Tristram Shandy, which its publication completed in 1767, are seen as the greatest works of the 18th century. The Victorian novel. Students, as you know, we are going to study the Victorian novel in the second studying course. And as an example of this novel, we are going to study Hard Times by Charles Dickens. Why it is called Victorian novel? The name of the novel is derived from the Victorian age. The age itself, the Victorian age, refers to Queen Victoria, who reigned Britain in 1837 till her death in 1901. The Victorian era witnessed the expansion of the British Empire and the Industrial Revolution, a revolution that brought a change in the British society. It was a change from a rural society to an industrial one. As a result, people gave importance to materialism rather than social values. This created 2 kinds of people or classes: the industrial manufacturers and the laboring class, or the working people who were exploited by their masters, by the manufacturers. The characteristics of the Victorian novel. Students, we will discuss the features or the characteristics of the Victorian novel in the second studying course. Just before studying Hard Times by Charles Dickens, we will deal with the characteristics of the Victorian novel. Here, in the first studying course, we are going to study Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe as an example of the early novel. So we need to know something about Daniel Defoe, his life and the features of his novel. So let us start. The life of Daniel Defoe. Just before start analyzing the characteristics of Daniel Defoe's novel, let us know something about this novelist. Daniel Defoe was born in 1660 in London. He was known as Daniel Defoe. He was an English trader, writer, and journalist. Robinson Crusoe was his first fictional work, published on 25 April 1719. Defoe was regarded as the father of the English novel, or the father of realism in the English novel. He helped in popularizing the English novel. Defoe's political writing made him face several troubles with the authority, writings that led him to be imprisoned. Defoe wrote in different topics such as politics, religion, crimes, marriage, psychology, and even the natural world. The writing style used in Robinson Crusoe. Actually, the publication of Robinson Crusoe in 1719 was an extraordinary event in the history of the English literature. This fiction was singular and new. What distinguished Robinson Crusoe from other works written in the early period were elements that are now seen as essential to the novel as a genre. This work tells the story of an ordinary individual who confronts danger and difficulties of life alone, without the help of any human being. His ordeals are extraordinary, and he has succeeded to overcome them. Hence, this work focuses on Crusoe's inner life and his internal and external struggles that have been understood in his spiritual belief. The narrator has a prominent style of depending on reason. Being a journalist, Daniel Defoe makes his novel seem real. The reader thinks whatever happens to Crusoe is true. The novelist has succeeded in creating this impression of complete reality by using three main elements. They are the use of or the using of details, the form of biography, or the first person narration, and the nautical language. Dear students, welcome to this classroom. In this studying year, you are going to study, as you know, the English novel, the early novel, and the Victorian novel. So let us know something about the beginning of the English novel and the pioneers of the fictional works who participated in shaping this novel. Actually, four periods shaped the English novel. They are the early novels, the Romantic period, the mature Victorian novel, and the modern novel. In this studying course, we are going to start with the early novel. The story of Robinson Crusoe. As a novel, Robinson Crusoe tells the story of a young Englishman who loves adventures and shows a great desire to ride the sea. Robinson Crusoe is impetuous and stubborn. He neglects the advices of his parents, and he makes up his mind to ride the sea. In one of his voyages, the young Crusoe is shipwrecked and cast away on a deserted island. He spends 28 years alone on this island. The story seems to be based on a real story of a Scottish sailor called Alexander Selkirk. After the destruction of his ship, Selkirk survived 4 years on a Pacific island. Students, thank you very much for your listening. Next time, inshallah, we are going to start reading and analyzing Robinson Crusoe. So please at home try to read the first 10 pages.